Welcome back to another episode of the Canon on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host Terry, and today we got a lot to talk about. I told you, what was that? The last maybe 2 episodes ago that this was gonna get juicy. And the reason I said it was gonna get juicy is because you had the perfect combination. You got the DCU that is going in a brand new direction. Despite whatever fanboys want to say, the DC characters are the most popular. It doesn't matter if you didn't like the Snyderverse. These are popular characters that are bigger than those movies. And now they're going in a new direction. So everybody's going to want to know what they're going to do. Then you have James Gunn, who replied to the report from the Hollywood Reporter. I think it was Hollywood Reporter. And now that was a big report. Like, there's a lot of rumors in there. So you could say, well, that makes sense that he replied to that. But if you've seen James Gunn before, you know he replies to a lot of people. He's been replying to fans and everything ever since he's got into this role. And so once he replied to that, and obviously he didn't give anything away, but he was pretty honest about it. I was like, oh yeah, we got a guy that's going to be a mouthpiece. Now, I have no idea if DC is down with that, or Discovery, I should say. I have no idea. Or if this is just him doing this, but because he's an active guy on Twitter. But he's been replying to everything. I mean, he's been on the Patty Jenkins thing who replied. He's been answering questions. He's been asking questions of fans of what they want to see. So I knew that it wasn't just going to stop. And now we got even more news because James Gunn, this is from him. This wasn't a report that he replied to. He jumped ahead and said, hey, here's the news. We are going to get a new Superman. Henry Cavill's out. Henry Cavill is gone, and we're going to go with a new Superman. And the Superman is going to be younger. James Gunn is writing the movie. I think if they had plans for him to direct it, he would have said that. Now, many people have talked about what James Gunn is going to do as the head. Obviously, he's got big responsibilities, but he has time where he could direct a movie. And we know the Snyderverse was messed up, but they let Snyder run the universe while he also directed most of the movies, to be honest. So it's possible. I would guess it's only going to be one movie at a time, like one movie every phase, if you will. Because he's got other stuff to do, but that's possible. But I don't think he's going to direct Superman, because I think they would have said that. So anyway, but the big news, Henry Cavill's out after he's left. Now, it's interesting to me. Let me just say this. I don't have the same sensibilities as the Hollywood people. I watch a lot of them in their podcasts and stuff. And so there's a lot of feelings about the etiquette, the unspoken rules in Hollywood and business. I don't have those same feelings. So to me, I'm okay that Patty Jenkins came out and said, no, this report is false. Here's what actually happened. I'm okay that Henry Cavill came out and said, I was told by DC Warner Brothers to go ahead and say that I'm coming back. So I don't know what happened. And I'm okay with all that. But you would be lying if you would say that's normal. It's not normal. And so not even that, you got Jason Momoa talking and really hinting towards Lobo. So it's just a lot of just honesty happening, which you really don't see. You usually see the PR tactic, don't say anything. Same thing with Ezra Miller and the old Warner Brothers. Just don't say anything. That's usually the PR tactic. NFL teams, everybody does that. If it happens, just don't say nothing. Don't address the rumor, because you're going to give it more heat. Maybe we're seeing a changing of the guard, where people feel like, okay, no, kill the rumor. I don't know. But anyway, it's only happening with DC. This stuff doesn't happen with anybody else. So I don't know if it's because of the transition. Everybody feels bold to throw the old regime under the bus. Or maybe Zaslav and Gunn, Safran, this is how they want to set up the culture. And I say that because Gunn is doing it himself. He's saying a lot of truth. Now, he's still giving a PR spin. He's not telling you all the dirt, but he is telling you more than we've ever heard from Feige or anybody similar in this position. So Henry Cavill's gone. He said, hey, they told me I was coming back. Obviously, The Rock did all that campaigning. And James Gunn them said, hey, once we sat down and looked at it, we decided we want to go in a different direction. However, we had a good meeting with Henry Cavill, and we're excited about potentially bringing him in as something different. Now, I don't know personally how I feel. Well, let me say this too. Ben Affleck seems like he's going to direct the movie. I just looked it up. Like, I heard it last night in the middle of all this, but I didn't really know 100% like what was the context, because some people, twist words, and some people like confirmed or this and that, and it just said, hey, we had a meeting. But James Gunn did say, and he was just replying to a fan, he did say he had a meeting with Ben Affleck, but he also said Ben wants to direct and we want him to direct. We just got to find the right project. So to me, that seems like, now that does mean we might not find the project, but once you say that, that means y'all both already agreed y'all want to do this thing. So to me, that means it's very possible that's going to happen. And so I was saying, I don't know how I feel about this idea of all these people from the Snyderverse coming back as different characters. I really don't care what it is. I'm gonna be honest with you. Jason Momoa as Lobo, I think is cool, and I could stomach that. But even if Henry Cavill came back as a villain for one movie that died, or Ben Affleck popped up, like it would be too much. It'd be too meta. Like, this is why you clean reboot, is you gotta get away from that stuff. So Momoa's Lobo I'll take, but the rest of it, I'm not sure how I feel about that. So as I said from the beginning, I've been saying it since 2016. They should reboot. They should reboot because they messed up. And really, if you think about it, since then, because I was saying this right before they released Justice League, and Justice League flopped hard. And then from there, we didn't have a whole lot. I mean, we had Aquaman after that. That was a hit. Shazam was very disconnected. Wonder Woman 84 was a prequel and was horrible. You had Harley Quinn, flopped hard. That was terrible. You had the Suicide Squad that didn't make money, but people really liked it. I really don't like James Gunn's Suicide Squad. So we didn't really have a whole lot. And so you didn't, I mean, Aquaman, I say, was a win, but you didn't have a whole bunch of wins. I feel like there was another $1 billion movie I'm forgetting. But anyway, you didn't have a whole bunch of wins since I said they need to reboot. I said you already don't have the structure or a plan, so you need to start over because you're tarnishing this whole universe, and that's what they continue to do. So now we come back to this, and I told you I could see a couple ways they could go about it, but the most clean, obvious way is a clean reboot. That is the no duh option. And so you have Flashpoint, you have Shazam 2. What else do they got coming out? Aquaman 2. And then you're done. Like, just wipe your hands of it, and in 2-3 years you'll be in production on your first, movie out the gate, which is probably Superman. And so it's pointing in that direction. We knew Ben Affleck was gone. You have Wonder Woman 3 getting killed, as we found out, by the studio, which I would say had to be a James Gunn decision, and Peter Safran. You have Momoa talking about moving to Lobo, And now Henry Cavill officially, they said he's gone. So I don't know what else would be but a reboot. Like I said though, there's still a chance they could do the multiverse here. Especially with James Gunn saying that Robert Pattinson's Batman is not going to come into this universe. So they could do the multiverse. They could still do that. But as of right now, it looks like just a straight up reboot. But we'll find out more, I'm sure. Anyway, so how do I feel about this? Obviously, this is something I've been on board with for a while. However, they chose to do it. I love Henry Cavill. I see a lot of people saying we never got a chance to see Henry Cavill really do his thing as Superman. I disagree. But obviously, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, they're not beloved like the way I love them. I absolutely love those movies. And I think Henry Cavill did an excellent job as this Superman. Yes, I think there was another step where he could obviously finally get to the Superman that we know as he was rebirthed. And so it kind of sucks that we don't get that chance. And just in general, it sucks because I think he's an amazing Superman, my favorite Superman. I think Ben Affleck's my favorite Batman, but it makes sense. It makes sense. You kind of gotta cut it off and do a hard reset in some type of way. But one thing that's interesting to me and a little scary is that we know that, I think it was last week, was it this week? They had James Gunn and Safran had their meeting with Zaslav to show them their 10-year DCU plan. And James Gunn has said, we got a 10-year DCU plan we're excited about. They're ready to roll. Obviously, they're talking to people about roles. They're talking to people about directing. So it seems like this is what they're going with. I'm a little worried just because that was really quick. Like, they started November 1st. The way Zaslav described it, he said that James Gunn was part of the search, when the early search, because we know they were trying to get this other guy, I forgot his name. They were trying to get him first. And so James Gunn has kind of been helping with the search and kind of brainstorming with everybody of kind of what the direction of the DCU would be. And so I know James Gunn has been thinking about it for a bit, and Peter Safran is a big part of the DC too. So I know they've had it on their mind. I'm sure they even wrote some sketches, but I can't say like it was a year of them really putting this together. And who knows, maybe you don't need a year. And I'm sure they're going to be flexible like the MCU, where Feige will put out something, and if it doesn't go the way they think, they switch it up. So I'm sure it'll be okay, but it just seems 10 years worth of movies like was quick. But at the same time, we don't know the volume. You know what I mean? It might be a movie per year. We don't really know. So, but he said they're going to be sharing a lot of news at the beginning of the new year. It's December, people. So he's talking about either next month or February, which is also really fast. Like when this all happened, and I don't remember if I said it on the podcast, I said, okay, obviously we all want news, but I'm waiting till July. By July, they should have had time to put a plan together, figure all the stuff out, have the conversations. They've done all that by January. So that worries me a little bit, not gonna lie. But I have I wouldn't say I have faith, but I'm gonna let it ride. Yeah, man, a lot of crazy DC news. And like I said, it's going to stay juicy because James Gunn just seems to want to make it juicy. But it might be smart. It might be smart to start getting a different buzz and a different, discussion going about DC, especially with the MCU kind of being whatever right now. But that's it for me. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe. And remember, if you heard it, it's official canon.